All right. I'm running out of space on my phone. The Abstractionist, what's up? So this is going to be maybe a short video. So one, this is going to be a Gemini Uranus video, and then I have another video that I want to do. So let's make them short so we can like upload them because I'm running out of space. Okay. So Gemini Uranus, I kind of feel like we should be taking care of communication in our nervous systems. I believe it's nervous system. Let's say Gemini, ruled by the Gemini, shoulders, arms, hands, lungs, nervous system. That is what we're doing here. And then we have Bonnie Galipsy, which I never heard of a day in my life. We got bronchioles, lungs, capillaries, things like that. So I feel like we really should like take care with communication and body communication, right? So, I think there's a lot of stuff because, Virgo and energy will also probably be affected because they're ruled by the same thing, Mercury. So if you have Virgo and energy, then this Uranus transit will probably be pretty crazy because it'll be tapping in kind of to two spaces on your chart. But I think your nervous system, what feels good, what is your body communicating to you, what's your environment communicating to you, what is communication, what are you communicating with? This would be a big question if you're talking about like the bigger questions of like, is there a God? Bigger questions like when you're doing spiritual practices and you're saying you're praying to this being, is this being actually showing up? What does communication from a higher being look like? What does a higher being, what would a higher being want to communicate with you? Figuring that out. Communications with tech devices, communications with yourself and other people, communications with the non-human. I think these are a lot of topics that we will start to see with Gemini. Of course, people talk about the apps and technological advances and things like that, but I think tapping into like the communication that happens with the body would be really helpful in directing you where to go. It's almost like your body may become a little bit more magnetic at this time and you'll be attracting certain situations. You may start to feel that your aura gets sticky, that like you're attracting certain things, almost like if you attract a lot of dust or a lot of lint to you, but energetically, right? And some people may just have massive successes at this point, even though Jupiter would be technically in like detriment if it were like in Gemini, because it's like, but I feel like it would be close enough to Cancer that it may like bump it out towards the end of the trend, but I think that there is just a time of magnetic pulling towards things. And I think also just trusting your extrasensory perceptions would be helpful. I think there's a lot of things that could happen that make people feel like they've experienced this like deja vu type things, or like they can see through what's going on and other people cannot, and the responses regarding that like make people feel like they're out of body or just like experiencing an alternate reality. Some people unfortunately will be experiencing an alternate reality because they have a lot of mental health problems going on at this time. And I feel like this is also a time where media and mass communication could overload the psyche and cause people to fry out a lot. And I think this is just a really good time to slow down in many ways. I think Uranus and Taurus, you should have been preparing yourself to deal with like a very frantic paced kind of world. I think when you get into Uranus and Cancer, there's certain things that'll start happening that I think will be kind of interesting in terms of business and stuff like that. But I definitely feel like right now I feel like even though we're talking about these bigger structures of communication, I think the communication between human and non-human on like a 3D level, not even like a celestial level, like a 3D, what you interact with, even materiality, how materials communicate. Um, People could go into rabbit holes of how certain animals communicate with each other. And it's almost like learning about those things helps unlock certain parts of the psychology to help you interact with humans. So there may be a lot of study about humans. So I've noticed a lot of videos like dealing with animals like cats, dogs, how they are perceiving life, that may start to show up a lot more. And it's not from a save the animals angle that I'm telling you. And I have a booger in here. Oh my God, sorry. Oh God, it's so distracting. I got it. Ew. um, but what can that teach you about your own communication style? There's something about learning about the communication of other things that helps you. And it's almost like this is a time period where the widest range of communication and translation and utilization of information can happen. So like it's almost like you can utilize the information that you learn about how plants like communicate with each other. Like that stuff will apply to you, and the circumstances will show up in a way that you can utilize that skill, which is kind of weird because you would be like, I'm not a plant, I'm a human. But it's like there's something about the idea that communication, the realms of communication that we have are limited. Like we're limited in scope and limited in thought of like we can communicate with these things, and that their experiences can influence our experiences. I think there's going to be a widening of that for certain people. And yeah, like it'll lead you to a lot of ways of shifting, and you might start to come across individuals that you feel like this it's almost like the archetype of these things are going to show up. Like this reminds me of a cat or a dog or a dolphin or something like that. And it's kind of like maybe the idea of spirit animals are going to show up, guardian animals and stuff like that, will show up. But it may be that they're using that ability through their actions. Their psyche is picking up on like communication in a certain way. And then some people may end up getting certain pets and stuff like that, but they may end up really deep diving into like a specific animal, specific creature, and it becoming like a really big part of them. I don't know. So yeah, that's about it. Really quick. So thank you for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.